Ladder I-League elimination. Welcome back to the Star Ladder I-League Invitational. We are into our fourth and final series of Elimination Day. 3 teams, Vici J, Faceless, and Alliance, already sent packing. 3 of the 4 semi-final spots claimed as IG moves on to face Liquid in the first of tomorrow's matchups. In our final series of the day, we're going to find out who will play up against TNC. Will it be Newbee, a team that advanced earlier today over Faceless, SCCC 44-30 in the final 2 games of that series on his Queen of Pain, or will it be Vega Squadron, who played terrific, fast-paced Dota yesterday? Here to talk with me about it are my 2 panelists. Here's the Capitalist and Coddle Guy. Guys, what do you think about this series?
It's a rematch, obviously, and I'm going to keep a close eye on these guys here. Newbee, the crowd obviously super stoked, super hyped, but, you know, when we saw them in their matchup against Vega, they looked pretty damn weak at the time. So are they still trying to evolve their play style a bit? They have a good thing going with SCCC, getting that, like, ever-scaling mid-lane core. He's found a lot of success in the Queen of Pain, but it's almost concerned, and as Jack was saying, is are they becoming almost predictable? And will Vega be able to predict that and just kind of crush them once again?
It does seem like Vega Squadron are definitely the biggest unknown in this tournament. I think for all the other teams have a very limited experience, if any at all, of being able to face Vega Squadron and the style that they bring to the game. I think Vega Squadron still has a bit of an edge here. I think Newbee's just not quite there yet. I mean, I've been kind of saying this for a while, but it doesn't seem like Newbee's in their prime form, and it just kind of continues. It's hard to really talk about like Newbee's draft or like how they should execute when they just kind of like play poorly. So I don't know. They built it up a little bit this morning. They'll have to do a lot more to convince me that they can beat Vega Squadron in a best of 3.
I think it sounds overly simplistic, but I don't think, as well as Newbee played for spots this morning, I just don't think that they played fast enough to beat Vega in that series. Vega, a very good team coming into this. They had won 5 straight series in qualifier play before suffering a 2-1 setback to Nada Sincere coming into this tournament. They're a team that has been steadily improving. Again, went through a couple of roster changes sort of recently, as Silent stepping into the support position, and then Afterlife stepping in at offlane to replace Mag, who left to play in Southeast Asia. The latter in particular, they've handled very, very well. Silent, maybe a few wrinkles in stepping into that support role after playing carry for many years, but I really do think stylistically what Vega has showed us so far in this tournament is the kind of Dota that's been winning.
The interesting thing I remember, I can't remember who it was, but someone was talking about on the panel, Vega, a bit, on how this was a team that used to be, well, full Divide, heavy rush, and then they kind of stepped that back a bit, the same way VP did, and we're playing it more methodical, slower, and being more disciplined. Is it almost kind of feeling like they need to start stepping back again to their original roots of being Divide and more fast-paced and pushing forward, and that is tending to find more success in this patch already?
I think in order to beat Newbee here, it would be helpful to be aggressive if you had the tempo controllers out of G. I think like the key to win this matchup for Vega Squadron is in Sioma and G, actually. I think if those 2 can just shut down SCC in the mid lane hard enough and they can snowball off of that, then yeah, I think they can definitely take out Newbee in a quick 2-0 fashion. So to answer your question, yeah, I think maybe a little bit of Divide is helpful, particularly when focused on your mid lane.
See, I really would like for them to resist going back to that, because as much as aggression can pay off, I think the biggest difference is that Vega have gone to fighting when they have the most possible advantage. They've been willing to put off a fight for, not long, 1 or 2 minutes, when they're able to take a fight at a better position on the map in a more favorable situation. And I think that makes them a much better and a much more dangerous team than just constantly pushing forward. As we look up at this match and see the players on stage, I think a big question for me is going to be about the support play, because we know Sioma is absolutely amazing on the side of Vega, had just a masterful game on Rubik yesterday, but at the same time Silent a little bit shaky. And then you go on the side of Newbee, and Kaka, after being such a good player going back for a period of years really, has been a little bit quiet in some of these games recently. So I think it's really, so many of these games already we've seen decided by the support duos.
I would make one exception for Kaka, and that's when he seems to get his hands on the Sand King.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's something that Vega are going to be looking out for, but you can't really put priority in banning out a Sand King in the first phase. So we could see Newbee decide to go for that right away. And I would agree with you. It's a lot on the supports in the matchup there, and also with this guy here, G in the mid lane, because Vega tend to love giving him a good lane. You'll see Sayoma just be by his side at the start and help securing it. I don't know if that's something that Newbee should be privy to, or anything that they can capitalize on that.
They better be ready for it, because the one thing about G is he plays a terrific Queen of Pain. And if they go back to that for SCCC, G knows how to play against that hero, as a lot of elite players do that are good on the hero themselves.
I think the on the side of Newbee thing, how they can beat Vega Squadron, how they can take advantage of the mid lane matchup is that if there's going to be a lot of pressure coming from Sioma and G onto SCCC, which I think is the best way for them to win, then you have to make sure that KP has a really good 1v1 or 1v2 matchup, so he can kind of go off as the offlaner and make space to be able to recover for SCC. So if he's pressured in the laning phase and if he's not having a great time, then you need KP to be able to succeed in his laning phase and transfer that from there to have a good 15-minute window that buys SC time to recover off of jungle or whatever he needs.
100%. And you were pretty blunt after the first game that we saw today from Newbee, that you felt like KP was the only player on the team that was playing well. And in games 2 and 3, they really started to play around him a lot better, making the most of that initiation. I agree. That's absolutely key in this series.
It's funny because I feel like in when Newbee was most dominant, their other cores were going off so well at that point in time, with SCC playing the kind of farmer, and you had this constant presence of U9 on the map, that I felt like KP was actually sometimes the one that was most inconsistent. But now in this Newbee, in the last Newbee, let's say 4 or 5 months, I feel like he's actually been the one who's been carrying Newbee through their rough patch.
I would agree with that. As you can see, the draft for game 1 of our final series of the day underway. Vega taking the Jakiro. That's already the 12th time that hero's been picked, making it the most picked hero now in the tournament, passing up the Sand King. And Newbee are going to go ahead and secure the Ogre. Again, we've seen so much emphasis on supports in the first phase, a lot of double support opens, and the Ogre, you were talking about that potential for the dual mid. The Ogre really gives you some insurance against that.
Goes without saying that all the heroes that have 2 heads are typically smarter than all the others, so you got to claim those first and foremost. I just got to say, it's a funny thing that someone like Theben shows up to this tournament, only gets to have 2 practice games with his team, gives Jakiro a shot in a pub, seems to do well, says, why don't we try it in this game? They go 2-0, and suddenly everybody goes home that night and probably tries out Jakiro, and now it's in everybody's lineup. I'm curious to see if this is something that actually transcends this tournament into the Manila Masters or Epicenter, or if this is just a self-contained thing here at StarLadder.
I feel like it's definitely going to transfer into others, just because if you look at the stats and the damage that comes out from Jakiro early, I thought this hero was getting so many buffs that it was eventually going to be a thing again. It just needed the right patch. He was getting that kind of power creep that we talk about from some of these heroes. If you get that power creep, then all you're waiting for is a meta that fits that hero, and he's going to go off big time. And that's exactly what's happened to Jakiro and many other heroes of the past. You said, you surpassed Sand King. I was like, well,
there you go.
What if they second pick Sand King?
Might be evening it up. No, I really do feel like this first phase, Queen of Pain, is a huge risk from Newbee. This is one of the things, when you have an opponent that got to sit and watch you play your earlier series, they're going to be very aware of what SCCC was able to do on this hero. And we saw a draft the other day where the Queen of Pain kind of got scrunched in as a 5th pick against a lineup with very heavy disable. And when you talk about Sand King and Jakiro, this is the start of that kind of heavy disabling teamfight lineup that can really lock down and burst down a Queen of Pain.
Definitely feels a bit awkward. I mean, it's like, well, SCCC, you had such good games with it earlier, let's just get it right away for you. And I would just fear for Newbee being a bit too predictable on this one. They're obviously still trying to figure out their own groove and taking pieces and elements from other teams. We'll have to see if it's going to be something promising for them or not. Second phase, no surprise that they're going to be getting rid of the troll, as he has been the hero of the tournament.
Troll, Ursa, those two.
would be-
what were the other laners? Juggernaut and Lifestealer.
Jug.
Those are like the 4 safe laners of the previous patch, and still come into this new patch quite strong.
Yeah, pretty surprised to see Ursa banned by Vega. That's generally a hero in the recent past that we've seen banned against them a lot.
What does that say? It says they want to either get something that can actually man fight, that typically Ursa would be a problem against.
Well, it means that they can more confidently, if they want to put the Sand King on support, which is not as much their style, it means that they can take one of the melee sustain heroes as their offlaner, like an Omni Knight or an Abaddon. Those heroes get punished quite heavily by Ursa.
Yeah, I think that kind of puts, for me, it kind of says Sand King support and a different offlaner, right?
Yeah, I think that's because you have, when you have a support duo like this with so much AoE and then the potential for the great initiation from the Sand King, I think there's less pressure on you to pick like a playmaking offlaner. You can pick more of like a sustained tanky offlaner, like even a Bristle perhaps. You know, we've seen the power of the early mech on the offlaner in this tournament, the Bristle as well as the Enigma, also the Tidehunter. Okay.
Right. I mean, they're showing their cores already. This early?
Yeah, I think this is fine because with Sand King and Jakiro, neither hero is particularly good versus Weaver, because you're going to get Linkens, and that cancels out Burrow Strike, and then Ice Path is just going to be difficult to be able to put onto the Weaver. It does kind of mean that Newbee won't have any real surprises. I don't think you can have a surprise that comes from your offlane in this patch.
Probably not. The other thing I'd say about the Weaver pick here also threatens the aggro tri-lane, which might be pretty good against what Vega has so far. The Jakiro and the Sand King, while they both have the disables, they are both heroes that need experience early on, so it can be a little bit awkward to build a defensive tri-lane around those two. Oh, well. Okay, here we go. It's going to be a core Sand King and that 4-position Spirit Breaker.
And they definitely don't want to have SCCC having a good time. The emphasis on the mid lane is still going to be there from Vega.
Whoa! First, wow.
So Weaver support. Weaver is also a potential offlane hero. Kind of similar vein to like the Puck offlane, where it's kind of greedy, but the mobility takes advantage of certain matchups. I don't know. I haven't really been feeling Draw Ranger strats for this patch, and you're picking into Spirit Breaker Sand King, very mobile initiating heroes that can get on top of the Draw Ranger and threaten her.
So the only reason why I think this could work is that you've got the Ogre and you have the potential to pick another very, very strong laning support, and Queen of Pain, Weaver, both heroes that are fairly self-sufficient. So you can actually go aggro here as Newbee around the Drow or safe lane, tri-lane, and leave the other two more or less on their own.
I think you need a tanky. I think the Weaver should be support here, and they need a tanky offlaner.
You think so?
Like Tide or like I wanted a disabling tank.
Yeah,
like not just Bristleback or something.
That's what I was worried about. That going the support Weaver with the offlane options that are left to you, it leaves you very light on disable.
I started thinking outside the box at that point and consider something like Centaur if you need a stunning offlaner and a way to maybe even disengage and get the Drow out of trouble.
Okay.
But then, like I said, you're thinking really outside the box, and I think these teams that, you know, this deep into the tournament life on the line, they're probably going to be sticking with things that are a bit more comfortable. So yeah, when you're considering other tanky options, Tide, is there. Don't know them to play a whole lot of KP
very good
Timber.
Lycan ban.
Yeah, Lycan is particularly strong against those squishy agility heroes. He's so tanky, he closes with the back line. But surely there's... I mean, they've already got the Tinker. They've got late game kind of secured. As long as they have a fighting core, that's all that really matters. And there's no way you could take away enough of those heroes.
I think the one thing you have to have from Newbee here is another source of disable to stop the charge. Right now, all you've got to stop the charge is the Ignite. The Drow can hit a Gust on that, but it's not the easiest thing for her to do in the world if she's already being pressured by the other supports getting in on her.
There's still Batrider out there. I don't. Again, I kind of want that tankiness.
Batrider for Newbee?
No.
Or are you talking about for Vega?
Still the off lane for Newbee.
So
because
with support Weaver.
Yeah, with support Weaver.
Okay.
Simply because of the fact that the Tinker is very problematic for them. They don't have very good heroes to hunt down Tinker. You literally just have Queen of Pain and that's it. And that's still like suboptimal compared to like Storm Spirit. So you need a better hero to be able to chase that down. I think the Tide being banned away takes away the tanky off lane. Like the most you have left, if you would have followed that line of logic, is like Omni Knight or Abaddon, or again heroes that don't deal with Tinker at all for you. Tide was at least an initiating disable that could catch Tinker and also was a frontline hero for you.
I honestly think if as Newbee you go anything else than another disabler as your last pick here, you're basically all in on just crushing the lanes and steamrolling.
I shouldn't be up here because I keep thinking of crazy things that I think would be fun if they want to go heavy push, take advantage of the drow.
Us with it.
Yeah,
Pugna.
do it, baby.
Pugna Ward would destroy Tinker.
You know,
It amplifies with the drow. You're going all in with more
Protect
heavy
you
push.
against Chaos Knight.
Yeah,
with
Decrepify.
Decrepify.
It's
so
problematic in the lanes.
New +1 Decrepify talent. Come on.
It kind of makes sense. It just I don't know how they'd lane it.
It's no way to save the drow, though, of course. It's just really throwing you all in that point, and then you're just hoping that the Tinker will just blow himself up at that point. But the offlane options are dwindling a bit thin. Outside of the Batrider that Cap suggested, you're going to have to, again, think outside the box possibly.
Okay, and it is going to be the Batrider, as you
suggested. It's the safe thing.
I think it's the only hero that can. You have to pressure this Chaos Knight.
Yes.
Because you can't just let Sand King Jakiro do like a dual lane and Spirit Breaker go wherever he wants. That Chaos Knight was such a good pickup because it's a soft replacement to the Lycan. You just needed tanky heroes that were able to fight and close the gap with Drow Ranger.
Yeah.
For me, it didn't matter what hero they picked.
I'm not quite with you on that, but I get the spirit of what you're saying, and I agree. I just flat out, I don't think Newbee has enough disable to keep him off the Drow. I think Drow's just going to get swarmed in these fights, and Support Weaver is just not going to do enough to keep Drow alive.
I'm with you on that. I would be very nervous for the Drow. The Chaos Knight seems quite ridiculous. They have plenty of ways to be able to close the gap and get in the face of the Drow with the Sand King too. I would just be very afraid for her. Very afraid. So I'm going with Vega on this one for sure.
Sorry, who has the Chaos Knight? It's Newbee, right? No,
Vega.
Newbee had the Drow
Vega.
Ranger alive.
Vega had it.
Yeah,
Vega
Vega's
last
got the
picked it.
ticket.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're both
okay,
at that.
Vega Squadron.
All
Sorry, I lost track of who was playing what.
It's okay. Long day.
So we're all on Vega Squadron.
We're all
then?
on Vega.
Hey, we've had good track record so far today.
Let's keep
So
it
4
intact,
zeros.
baby.
But I'm on the panel
Let's
now.
do it.
So.
All right, one more series. Let's get it going. The panel is 3-0 in favor of Vega. Send it over to Double L's. Here are Lyrical and Lumi.
Thank you very much, Alan, and hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness gracious, Lumi, we're here. We're in the midst of craziness. It's been a very long day. Finally, we come to this, the final series. Vega facing off against Newbee, CK, Drow, these heroes, they're all over the place. What do you think?
Day's not long enough. I want more Dota.
Exactly, right?
We're going to
That's the
get
thing.
a full best of 3, 85 minutes each game.
I am so down. I would honestly love it. And countdown into our first game, as you can see right in front of us, as the early movement is heading out across the map. And it looks like, well, pretty much everything that we were expecting as this game was going on. What do you feel like are sort of going to be the big determining factors for how this game plays out in your eyes? Like, who needs to have themselves a really good lane for Newbee, for instance?
Well, Vega obviously is going exactly for full divide, right? They have both Spirit Breaker as well as Chaos Knight. Their goal is to jump on top of the Drow Ranger, and then Newbee's job is to protect the Drow Ranger and also to a similar vein, SC's Queen of Pain. So the question is, can Newbee protect their siege cannon? And if they can, they will win this game. If they cannot, Vega will run them over. Very, very simple concept in my opinion.
All right, well, very excited to see what ends up coming of that, as there's a lot of drawing all over the map here. It looks like there were some early wards placed down. Newbee able to get one up on that tier 1, or rather the hill by the tier 1 tower in the off lane of the Radiant, which is going to give some good vision. And a couple of wards placed down in the mid lane as well. it looks like they're actually going to be going for a bit of an aggro lane, potentially, as the Batrider and Ogre are down there. Now, do you think that you end up keeping that Ogre down in the bottom, or is this just going to be a hero that roams around and tries to make a lot of things happen, maybe helping out mid a little bit more?
I think if it's just the Drow plus Ogre, you keep the Ogre on the bottom lane to make sure he does have the good lane. Maybe Drow, once she has the boots advantage and maybe a couple of levels, then the Ogre is free to move. But for now, I think the Ogre is going to be a little bit of a permanent fixture on the bottom side. And this is rather smart by Newbee, because one of the best way to tackle a Drow lineup is to offensive tri-lane against the Drow Ranger, shut her down the laning stage. She's not very good, actually, till she has some items and some levels. So Newbee very smartly expecting the tri-lane and avoiding it altogether.
Well done, well done. And Sioma, in the meantime, he's going to be sitting mid. They actually have KP, who's staying on this Batrider and trying to ensure the early lane. I mean, this was a thing for a little while, right? Batrider in the support role out of China, helping out their mid laners. It's just interesting to me that it's KP that's being the one who's actually doing this. And, well, a charge into mid onto SC. That's not really going to amount to too much.
Yep.
But I guess he goes back to the jungle eventually, right?
I mean, there's a lot of kind of roaming back and forth. It's more about poking and prodding and finding opportunities if you feel like you can't actually get too much done, which in this game I really don't think he will be able to do so. Then it's going back to the stacking and pulling in the jungle. And the reason you haven't been seeing it is actually due to the jungle change. Like, Batrider needs that stack to recover and find that early Tranquil Boots and Blink. And because they changed how the jungle is respawning, that it wasn't seen. But now it's back to the point where you can stack every minute now, so it's much easier to run that strategy.
Okay. Very, very cool stuff indeed, as, well, the casual 4 heroes mid that we've come to know and love. And Sioma taking a good bit of damage here. They're actually going to blink forward, trying to find the kill. It does look like he's still taking enough damage from the dagger that it might end up being the death of him. Tango regen is there, but it's going to be enough. I think that he's actually going to live through that. That was close, though.
Well, he is very far away from home. He is going to try to take a rune and, I guess, charge to the mid lane and walk it off. Is he suiciding? This is going to be a long respawn time, and yeah, he will be suiciding to one of the neutral camps.
And an easy regen rune as well for SC is, well, it's not first blood, Observer. Don't worry. It's all fine. We're all good. Everything is okay here. But yeah, it's like you mentioned, that long respawn time, 19 seconds. Maybe it could have been worth it to go back to the home and regen, but no shrines makes that a little bit less palatable as well.
Actually, for the Batrider situation up top, it looks like it was just more or less a late lane switch. We're not going to have Kaka core on the Weaver and KP the support Batrider. It was kind of just roaming up top, and Kaka was just being the placeholder in the lane meanwhile.
Yeah. Okay, well, Afterlife. Oh, another charge in towards mid. SC going to back out again. And that is going to be just a lot of pressure placed in on here. The panel talked about it. G, obviously, a lot of experience with Queen of Pain, what you need to do to shut this hero down. He knows it, indeed. And they're just going to try and keep that going, although it's still relatively even in that mid lane. Big thing is Drow maybe suffering a little bit down bottom.
Yeah, I am surprised at the fact that the Ogre did leave the bottom lane so quickly. But I think the mid lane is actually a little bit more important to secure, and Drow is advantage in this solo 1v1, so Mugi will be fine.
All right. Aloha Dance now continuing to farm away on the CK. We talked about full Divide as another charge is going to be canceled out in the mid lane here. I mean, obviously, Spirit Breaker also just is the embodiment of that type of play. What is it that you feel like they need to accomplish in the laning stage? Like, do they need to dominate their lanes, or is it more about grouping up after the fact?
I think it's weathering the storm. Right now, you just make sure you don't feed, exactly. G on the mid lane, though, looks like he is daggered up. He popped the Fairy Fire, will man up. The charge is coming through. SC needs to blink back now. First blood goes to Sioma, and just a tad late on the kill on the other way around. Kaka pops a Swarm, and they have the Ignite as well. They really want to Tower Light. This is a very tanky hero. Simo walks forward looking for the 17%. He's got the Orb on Kaka, and the range creep will take him down.
Oh my god, big plays there. And one of the big things was that it was actually the bugs that were tanking the tower, which allowed them to dive so deep. So really cool play. They end up being able to find their kill, and it was first blood, of course, going against SC. So big win there for Vega Squadron.
Yep. Unfortunately, I didn't actually catch how many range creep there was for Newbee. I'm not sure if Drow Ranger activated her passive, maybe the extra range creep hit or two would have made a difference because it was really close in that engagement.
Yeah.
But that was not the case.
Well, so far, everything looking good for Vega Squadron, and another charge towards mid. They are putting the screws to SCU, takes a laser to the face, and then forced to blink back yet again. Frustrating laning stage for them, and we'll have to see how the response is. I
mean, there is no response from this, right? Unless Ogre is there with a Fire Blast, which he doesn't have access to, but maybe this is the respawn just to kill him or force him away. Roshan, is he going to give him the bash? No. Runs away with the poison, though. That is actually a level 2 poison. He might... Nope. Activate the shrine. Okay, he's good. He's good. He's going to pour him.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, yeah, a little scary there, but again, going to be okay. Maybe wasn't quite expecting the damage coming out from the Illusion Rune from the Queen of Pain. 2-2 so far.
Yeah, but back to your question, like there is very little that Newbee could do about it. In fact, they're going to make a play here on G on the mid lane, but again, the charge is going to come right in. Swarm coming on the left side as well. They will take down G, and they meet us out by SD. I really like that. I mean, when you make that kind of dive so close to the tower, you got to expect the charge to be coming from the Spirit Breaker.
I mean, the big thing, too, is Kaka continuing to rotate into here. Now they're just going to be able to shrine up immediately afterwards and go back in again if they want to once the Tinker comes back. This is a huge problem right now for that Tinker. So Sioma trying to make a lot happen with those rotations, but it's just not super possible at the moment.
Well, I think he's becoming a little bit more predictable now. Like, if it's just the Ogre there, he could keep charging like this. And in fact, he will continue to charge, but instead, they're going to go down to the Tinker again.
Yeah, gee, he's getting caught out now. Faith going to be able to find the Fire Blast, and SC there to maybe make something else happen. They got to be careful because Silent is starting to rotate in, but they're just going to be able to back out, and Newbee is just crushing this mid lane now.
Yeah, I think Vega, first of all, they're being too predictable with a continuous charge in the mid lane. For example, if you charge a Drow Ranger on the bottom lane right now with a good Burrow Strike and a couple of right-click, she'll just go down very quickly. Now, it is somewhat difficult to get a good angle to charge onto Moody because she could actually displace your charge with the Gust. You can see that she's already got an early level of it. The silence itself doesn't cancel a charge, but the fact that the knockback, the pushback will. Okay. So...
Well, meanwhile, they have rotated in a couple of heroes, and it looks like they want to do exactly what you were just talking about. But Kaka's here as well as Faith. Can they actually turn this back around? So much damage onto Mugi, but the Gust is there. Doesn't matter. Right clicks come in, and that's going to be a kill onto the Drow.
They're
maybe a
greedy.
bit more. Yeah, this is going to be the Spirit Breaker coming in. Burrow Strike connects. That's a dead Ogre. Maybe going to be able to find themselves Kaka as well as he's trying to run away. Afterlife, no mana currently.
Does he recognize that? In fact, Kaka, the 9K player, goes for a kill attempt, but unfortunately, the infused raindrops make it a little bit difficult. Will Afterlife poking back out. A couple more right clicks coming through. I don't think Kaka, yeah, he's going to just port home after this. But, you know, just like I mentioned earlier, just poke at other lanes. You are the full divide strategy. You have 3 lanes to divide into. Don't be predictable.
I love that that's the verb as well. It's like, it's so perfect that it's exactly what it is that they're doing. But nonetheless, Chaos Knight around 200 gold away from finishing off that Hand of Midas for himself to make sure that they can keeping the pressure on but not fall too far behind in terms of farm. And SC, he is invis there, but they've got the charge on him as well. So fully aware of what's going on. They saw the Spirit Breaker charging in from the south because of that ward, and now it's another movement in. They want to try and see if they can kill off the CK. It'd be a big kill because he still is so close to Midas right now. He almost has enough gold for it. Can he buy it before he goes out? He is going to be able to get it, but still going to die.
He will definitely die, but you know they didn't really gain too much from that apart from getting the 1 kill. The pushback from KP, perfect. Silent looking to port out, no chance.
Double for KP. That's a huge amount of the way towards his Blink Dagger as well.
Yep.
So far it feels like Newbee is playing this strategy pretty damn well, keeping even at this stage with Vega Squadron. And I mean, Tinker, it's not like he's fallen incredibly far behind in spite of those deaths. He's died 3 times, but still having a good laning stage for himself in terms of his farm he's been able to get.
He's actually ahead of the Queen of Pain when it comes to net worth. So I would say that the repeated charge on the mid lane, although predictable, is making SC, you know, very scared, and he's blinking back repeatedly. So that is slowing down the Queen of Pain in his own right. I gotta say though, I feel like the Newbee support duo has been outplaying the Vega support duo by a wide margin. They are kind of expecting where the ganks are, and they are reacting very, very quickly. And when you don't have ability like charge, and you're still able to react, I think Newbee is just thinking one step further than Vega, and they're playing a little bit better.
Well, let's see if Vega can make the play right now. SC going to blink back, and he is going to be able to escape. Close situation right there, as it looks like Vega going to stick around for a moment, see if they can pop that ulti, take down the tower. But in the meantime, Newbee pushing down bottom, also keeping some pressure on up at the top lane.
Yeah, committing the exorcism for this push, and Reality Rift back in. Here we go. The charge will fly through KP. Will be going down for sure. Oh, actually, the charge now transferred to SC. He will have to force to be blinked out.
That was very close. So they are going to be able to find that one, and now G in trouble as Kaka's chasing him down here. Can he actually find this kill? Bug's still there, giving him the vision, and they are going to try and chase. They find the kill. Good play. Stun comes through, though, and Kaka might end up paying for this one. Burrow Strike, as well as the Reality Rift, and they get the return code, but very much worth it to find that kill onto G.
Worth. WORF. Every time.
That's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah. So 6-7, still CK top of the net worth, but G getting a little bit of, pause in terms of his farm towards those boots of travel.
Yeah, they gotta respect the Reality Rift range. I think that's one of the best way to initiate, because not only does it pull you closer to Vega Squadron, it also kills you very quickly with especially when Phantasm is on.
It's that minus armor, right?
Yep.
Like that's so difficult to deal with.
And mind you,
is he maxing it first?
Sorry?
Is he maxing it first? I've seen some people go
yes,
to that.
he is definitely maxing it first.
So -7 armor at this stage. Jeez, that is so much.
No Chaos Strike at the ready yet, but you got to keep in mind he's doing this with Naked Brown Boots and Handamitis. It just shows you the strength of this hero, that you're able to make those type of plays without essentially any items.
Well, Mugi hanging out up here to the north. They have Faith rotating in, as well as Kaka slowed down, silenced up, and soon to be brought down.
Very
sad
good chain
life
stun.
for SSK.
Yep. That Gus is worth every bit of its. I mean, it's not leveled up right now, but against Chaos Knight down the row, against that charge down the row, very important. And we saw how important it was to pick up the kill on Sanking.
Yeah. Well, something we didn't get to talk about a ton is the removal of the unique attack modifier thing for Drow.
So you can Deso.
Do you like that idea of a Deso on Drow? I kind of like it, but it feels like maybe she ends up being a little bit too squishy.
In a scenario where nobody's going on your face, it's a very good item. But obviously, like we've been pointing out, this is about keeping Drow alive. So I think Hurricane Pike is probably the first go-to item, especially against all of these heroes that could get onto your face. Sand King, though. Ooh. Making the deny happen on the top lane.
Nicely done.
Yep.
And these charges mid, they keep on going on to SC. It's not really to try and find a kill almost. It feels as if they're just trying to make him uncomfortable at this point in the game. And
I feel like it's starting to hit a diminishing return. It's been good, early on, because SC was very squishy. Blink wasn't really heavily leveled up. Now, I don't really think so, because one TP from a counter gank, that charge guy is dead.
Ooh, they're chasing down Aloha right now. The real you getting scouted. They have found him. Just Sonic wave him right in the face, why don't you? And
back in
well, maybe in some more trouble. His Faith is going to be brought down. They find the laser. Sioma trying to find the kill, and they'll get it with the rockets from G.
Yep. Popping the magic wand. There was also an infused raindrop block, but too much damage here from our Tinker. And Tinker is going for the full laser rocket build. He now is going back into a couple points of the March the Machine, but you got to keep in mind that the mid game here is going to get somewhat slowed down. That's kind of what we saw out of Alliance last game. Strong laning from Limp, from the Tinker, but then once the mid game came about, really started to fall behind compared to IG because of the skill build.
Yeah, now Queen of Pain up ahead of that Tinker by 700 gold at this point, and Afterlife maybe going to be in some trouble. Goes for the Sandstorm and will be able to escape. Yep. We have the Bat Rider Blink Dagger done, though. How does that change this dynamic?
I mean, it's really allowing Newbee to start finding more kills, right?
Oh, and maybe one right here. This is a super high priority. They are charging in, though, so maybe a little bit of a bait coming. Can KP actually walk away? Gets bashed once. Afterlife still looking. Reality Rift pulling him back in. Stun is there. A little help from the neutrals, and the laser will find that kill.
That was a little jumping the gun here, because Queen of Pain was a mile away. I mean, I guess he was excited seeing the Tinker, but
yeah.
SC didn't even have the ultimate, so to me that was a very low percentage kill from KP. But back to your point, what does this Blink Dagger mean? Obviously, you could start making those gank. Hopefully next time he'll bring more friends. But one of the best way to defend a very squishy core is to take pressure off of her. Right. Instead of defending the Drow Ranger when they go on your Drow, just make sure you're constantly in their jungle, making sure you're the one that's initiating gank on Tinker. And instead of ganking Drow, Vega Squadron might need to hold a couple people back and make sure they protect the Tinker instead. So that seems to be the way that Newbee has been playing this game. Defense is not as good as offense in their mind.
Okay, and I like that idea too. I mean, because that's something that's always been the power of these lineups as well. Is, well, here we go. Movement in towards the top lane. It looks like they do have some vision. Oh, they're just going immediately for Roche. This is pretty cool, but will Vega be fooled? Are they going to be able to move in and contest?
I think they know, and they're smoked up right now. Kaka looking to break the smoke. I'm not sure whether the Observer Ward got any vision. And there is a Blink Dagger on Afterlife right now. This could be big.
Oh my god, they catch it. Ice Path is down as well. The stun comes through, connects onto 2. Can they find any more off the back of this, though? Sioma is just going to get exploded there. They are trying to take down KP, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. They have popped the ulti as well from the CK. G comes in, finds another one. This is awful right here for Newbee. The real you, though, okay, never mind. They're able to turn it. SC, we should have never doubted him. Sioma there a little bit too late with the stun. Afterlife trying to bring down Kaka, but he's already gone into Sakuchi. They're backing out. Stun comes out from Sioma. Don't think it's quite going to be enough. And, well, actually, they are going to be able to bring down the Ogre. But that might be about the end of it.
They have more Burrow Strike from Blink Dagger, but no, they're not going to chase back and forth. They go Sioma down to about half HP. Look at how tanky Sioma is. Kaka's still on the chase. I'm not sure whether he can Burrow Strike. Will hit him this time. And I believe it is time to back off. No, Queen of Pain moving further. Man, is this fight ever going to be over?
I mean, this is the thing, right, is that they both want to try and drag it out a little bit at least, but it's so scary once you have that shrine right there that you can pop, immediately go back into it, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Grouped up as 4, they're ready to make the play. Drow is coming in as well. They're going to maybe go in a second time, but, well, finding Silent, there's going to be the pushback, a little bit of a catch. The dagger is out as well. No shrine is here for Vega, so they're just going to have to give up Silent.
Newbee, if they knew that there was a Sand King ultimate in that fight with the Blink Dagger on tech, they 100% does not go for that Roshan engagement. But what a perfect pickup for Afterlife. Unfortunately now, though, you know, Epicenter is down, so Newbee just waltz into the pit, takes it for free.
Well, 17 minutes, and now Newbee, the ones in control of this game, at least to the next couple of minutes here as they have the Aegis. So they're set up to try and go in for the Tier 1 tower. How do Vega respond to this? It's just all about split push at this point, right? Oh god, G? Okay, no, they have found Kaka. He's almost dead. That's the time lapse away.
He is charged though, and now coming in hot is Sioma. He has detection available, and time lapse is down. Trying to put as much distance between him and the charger, but he's gonna get found here.
Yeah, Burrow Strike comes through, and don't know if they're actually going to be able to play his way out of that. Well, stick charges, and Sakuchi away is going to be able to make that escape, and they have caught now one, as it is going to be the Tinker in a hell of a lot of trouble. Epicenter comes out. Isn't enough to kill them all off, though. Faith is there as well, trying to slow down Silent and keep him away from Moogie, but they've already been able to push him away once. That's going to be the kill. Double for SC. Silent also getting ran down by Faith now, and it is going to be able to find this kill with the bugs and with that damage from SC.
Tower goes down in the midst of everything. Tinker had to buy back in that engagement, and still, despite of that, what was that, a 1 for 4 if you count the Aegis being extended by Newbee. I want to point out how smart it was to put the Aegis on SC instead of the Drow Ranger, which is normally, you know, the one you want to be protecting, the one that you want to put the Aegis on, but they understand that SC represents so much more damage this point on. If she could respawn and give you that second, the Screen of Pain, the Shadow Strike, all that jazz, it's going to be worth a lot more damage, and we saw that in that last fight. Being able to extend the fight in a way to catch more up and get more kills. That Aegis placement from Newbee won them that fight.
Yeah, and it was also like that thing where everybody moves over to the side, they try and chase the Weaver, find that kill, and it leaves open the Tinker to get caught there by the lasso.
Yep. Again, I just want to point out, this game from just the draft, you would think that Newbee, it's all about playing defensive, making sure they don't go in the Drow, making sure we sit behind the Drow, let her farm. Very static play. Newbee flips it, 180. And they're going on people. TP out here from the Spirit Breaker, but no such luck. And Newbee, as you could see here, just offense, 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 putting a pressure, getting kills, and Drow Ranger just farming away because nobody's ganking her.
Yeah, absolutely. And now you're in a situation where you can keep the pressure on, try and take down the rest of these towers. The Orchid is done for the Quap as well, and she's just running at the Jakiro right now, trying to find the kill.
Oh, and the base pop.
Maybe, possibly. No, it's not going to be enough. So he is going to live through that one. But it also means now you don't have the Jakiro to try and stop this push that's coming in from Newbee.
Yep. This feels a complete 180 compared to the game I just casted, where both teams says, okay, we're going to sit back, look for the perfect fight. But now it's fighting nonstop. Charge coming in from Sioma, Gus, and Flame Break. They both do cancel the charge, and Newbee was not shy using those spells.
Yeah, stay away from my carry. I don't want none of that shenanigans. So 20 minutes in, you can see that all of the Tier 1 towers are now down across the map for Vega. Newbee, meanwhile, have retained both the mid and bottom tower for themselves, as Vega have stopped the pressure, at least for the moment. In your eyes, how do you see the next couple minutes unfolding here? Like, there's still not going to be another Roche to be taken. Do you think that Newbee can try and move around the map and take down the rest of those objectives, or do they need to try and play it a little bit more passively?
I think it's too dangerous to now actually take objectives, especially now that you don't have Aegis on SC anymore. I think you could play the Econ game, because if you look over to Tinker, which I guess you can because the Chinese caster is controlling the ops, but what I want to point out is that Tinker, because the buyback he had to use in the last fight is in Struck City right now. No Blink Dagger. He'll pick it up in a minute or two, but, 20-minute BOT Blink is not very good at all. So I think Newbee could play the Econ game for a bit. They are pulling vastly ahead now. And this is where Mugi will scale and take over the game.
And I mean, it's not just, these other heroes, the SC, Queen of Pain, or the Drow Ranger. It's this Weaver. Like, he's got Urn, he's got Medallion, almost the same net worth as, like, the Tinker. This is really a problem right now for Vega Squadron. What does Kaka go into? He's building towards that Aghanim Scepter. He's only 1,600 gold away from it, and they just destroy Afterlife as well. Newbee are all over right now.
So I really like the decision not finishing Solar Crest and start going towards the Axe by picking up the point booster. And you might be asking, well, isn't Solar Crest a very commonly purchased item? Wouldn't it be good here? Yes, but to me, once Kaka finishes that Aghanim Scepter, that is the door shutting. Because Vega Squadron's lineup is about jumping on that one target with Charge, with Reality Rift. If you could time-lapse that target, that is all Vega's offense.
Right.
And they are going to be on the run instead. So I really like this item adjustment for Newbee.
I mean, likewise, there's always the sort of win condition for Vega Squadron where if CK gets enormous, then you start to run into problems. But you do also have Aghanims, Mjolnir, Drow Ranger if they need to go towards that route.
Sure.
So, there's some answers for both teams, but certainly right now, Newbee are the ones that are feeling quite strong and capable of just snowballing this game from here on out. DD was picked up there for the Queen of Pain, and it looks like Vega want to put a kibosh on all these proceedings and make a smoke play for themselves.
Yeah, one of the things that we saw from the Alliance CK game yesterday was that the illusion was a big part of the damage, and Loda had a lot of trouble kind of using this illusion because there's so much AoE. If you look at it within the context of this game, Napalm is going to be annoying for the CK illusions, and of course there is a Sonic Wave, but if the CK could use his ult after those ultimates have been used, after all of the AoE spells have been dumped out, I can see CK just running through Newbee. So, gotta control his ultimate timing very well. As I say that, he just like willingly pops it and go for the mid tower, which is fine. I mean,
yeah, totally.
We do see a lot of CK use it as a pushing mechanism.
Yeah. Well, and he's just going to be doing that right now. And Kaka comes in, going to clear these ones out. 900 gold from an Aghanim Scepter on the support Weaver. He is incredibly farmed.
Yep.
So.
Also, if I may go back to the CK comparison to Loda's play from yesterday, Loda took the talent where at level 10 you could choose between 8 intelligence and 15 attack speed.
Right.
And he took the intelligence talent, which in the mid and late game, between Dual Breath and Liquid Fire from the opposition, his CK illusions were not hitting at all.
Right.
I'm very happy to say that the CK here, for going for the end, took attack speed, and he will, really go for his illusions to actually output that damage and look for the quick pickoffs.
Okay. Yeah, it's something that you have to do with this hero, is find the initial pick, turn it into a 4-on-5 as quickly as possible. Well, that Tier 2 tower ends up going down in the bottom lane. It's hard right now for Vega to really make any type of movement in to take an engagement, and Kaka continues to farm. I'm not exactly sure what you do at this point for Vega Squadron. Is there... I mean, you can't really try and gank the Weaver at this point, right? They don't have hard enough lockdown.
Win the next Roche fight. That's what both teams is playing for. So we're going to see smokes being purchased from both sides. That is probably the best opportunity for Vega. And we saw how close that last Roshan fight was with Afterlife, you know, with a blink surprise. They do have some decent AoE on the pit, epicenter, macro power, the March of the Machine. So Vega look for good positioning, pull one back with either the Sand King or Reality Rift, and try to win a fight at the Roshan pit. Because, you know, as we saw all tournament, that's where really the game is won or lost.
All right. So Mookie in the meantime, Shadowblade done as well, and he is going to be going back for that Aghanim Scepter build. No real surprise against the CK. Afterlife, Blink is up and done a long time ago and ready now with the Yule Scepter to get himself away from the silence that's going to come from that Queen of Pain. But it looks like right now, Newbee, they're all grouped together. This is actually just going to be a dead Sand King. I do believe they have the silence to come out afterwards. Sandstorm, blink away, nice play there as well. Is still going to be ran down, and they'll have vision over the top of him. Afterlife trying to make the escape, but all of Newbee is there. And SC is godlike.
I mean, I guess space. That was like a 4 versus 1, and he definitely made him work for it. But Roshan is spawning relatively soon.
Oh my God, it's about to spawn right here.
They're so unlucky.
They're not going to be there.
Yeah.
That would have been really good.
That is a very lucky break for Vega Squadron, because without Sand King, there was no play at all for the Roche.
Well, SC's moving through the jungle right now, not at all afraid, although G Tinker's there, but they're just going to be able to find the CK, and he is in a ton of trouble. They have Sonic Wave still as well. The real you trying to make his escape, but the Sonic Wave does finally come out, and SC made sure it was the kill. KP is here as well. They try and get it, but it's not going to be enough. Oh, lordy-dordy. Vega Squadron in trouble as Newbee is just rolling over their face.
Time lapse just to pull him out.
Oh, nicely done.
That is, hey, we have time lapse now. Good luck. And of course, Roshan is, I mean, I think they should check again, or they're going to take the T2. It looks like they're going to take the T2 first. Yeah, I mean, that's just Newbee flexing their muscle.
That is so demoralizing. Oh man, you kill off the CK while he's farming the closest camp to your base. You then kill off the Jakiro who is trying to save the Spirit Breaker inside of their base, and then you time-lapse him out showing, yeah, that item that we have that's going to let us win the game, we have it.
Yeah, to me, that wasn't really CK's fault. That was really well played
definitely.
For Newbee, because Newbee just killed your Sand King up top, and they smoked. And then they search right into your jungle. Normally, you just don't expect that kind of rapid movement. But Newbee, again, thinking 2 to 3 steps ahead of Vega, is able to make that play. And now Roshan Pit, double damage for SC as well.
They have to do this, though. This is the play right here. They're going to pull in the Ogre at the start of it. Can they get anything else? Epicenter is going to be there. They pop the BKB, though, and now it's all going to go wrong. I do believe silence onto 2. Can SC find anything else? G is still there. They've got control for the moment. Is Sand King able to go for another counter-initiation play if they want to? A 4-second stun, actually. It's going to bring down Drown. She doesn't have buyback right now. SC trying to run away, does still have the Aegis, is going to be time-lapsed back in. The real you under fire and is going to be killed off as well. So even though Drow went down, I don't know if it's enough. The epicenter is going to be there. They will have time-lapse back up in a second. SC, that's Aegis down. Time-lapse 2 seconds away. But that's going to be Afterlife TPing out.
Oh,
well,
no.
Nope, they got him. Nicely played there by Newbee. 4 dead at the end of the day, but they did burn through the Aegis.
So the problem, like you said, they had the epicenter, but he never found a good opportunity to use it. So basically, they didn't have it till the very end of the fight, which traded the epicenter for the Aegis. Had he able to actually pop that epicenter in the middle of the fight, could have been a very different fight. Would have definitely allowed the CK to stay alive much longer. Also, the other half of that fight is that SC did not have the Sonic Wave. So Newbee wasn't even fighting at their full potential, and they still won that fight.
16,000 net worth on Queen of Pain. It's pretty good. They are in quite a comfortable spot. I mean, that's the amount of lead that they have right now over Vega Squadron. Oh, God. And now Spirit Breaker just going to be beaten down to death. Queen of Pain hitting for about 250 a pop. Lumi, where do we go from here? What's the play right now for Vega Squadron? I mean, geez.
I mean, do you want real talk or caster talk?
We got to keep it real, man. It's late night over here in China. Bring me the realness.
Real talk is, the G button on your keyboard, because it's really, really hard for Vega Squadron to come back now. You're now playing a melee core that could, get on somebody's face, but Drow Ranger and Queen of Pain is so big, you still have the time lapse to worry about. Vega are just lacking damage at this point, and now, of course, Tesla Ranger, like you mentioned, is coming online. Unless Newbee has some big miscommunication, this is elementary at this point on. And I don't mean that television show, which is awesome.
God. Yeah, I haven't watched it. I'm not too hip on it. But yeah, we're moving in here and looking like it could be, you know, the final push potentially. Granted, the Aegis did go down. They still have cheese available to them if they wanted to make that pressure. But I don't think Newbee are under any real serious motivation to force the issue. If they end up, you know, getting wiped while they're trying to go high ground, suddenly all that advantage they've been able to build up can come.
Well, you know, SC, his other occupation apart from good-looking Dota player is cheese fermenter. Was stacking cheese earlier today. I'm not sure whether you watched that game. Had like 3 to 4 cheese stacked on. He's got one right now.
Okay.
All right, you know, give it some time. It will ferment, so maybe he's looking into that.
So we have to wait 4 more Roches is what you're saying before this game's going to be over.
I mean, it's up to Newbee, whatever they want to do, because this is their court right now.
All right, fair enough. Well, 18,000 net worth. Not only is it just making sure that they're stuck in their map, but also it's Newbee farming out the rest of the map for themselves and denying out the towers.
I mean, you can look at Vega Squadron's lineup and be like, you know, you have a Tinker. Technically, high ground defense is possible. But because how big the Queen of Pain has been and how big the Bat Rider has been, Tinker has to be defensive. Like, he's getting the Yules to essentially survive against the Quap. Had he been able to build an Aghanims, maybe the base defense will be a reality, but this is just Newbee pushing out the map, waiting for the next Aegis, and then they will go high ground.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about these things. Tier 1 towers are all down right now for Newbee across the map. Vega Squadron able to move out a little bit, but now Mugi is here, and he's starting to hit this tower down. In terms of ways to keep him survivable, too, like, you can literally just do this with the Aghanims Weaver, and you never have to worry.
Yep. All right. Mugi would take down the tower. They would take down Shrine. Very systematic. No need to get fancy here.
No. Calm, cool, collected. It's the Newbee way. I mean, if I think back to Newbee, you know, throughout their history this year with this squad, it's been a story of either A, like, playing grouped up and stay inside your base because you want to defend high ground, or B, just dominating in this fashion and then eventually pushing high ground once you build up a substantial advantage.
Right.
And that's just, you know, it's their stock and standard approach.
Generally, Newbee has trouble in games where they're slightly behind or it gets to the late game scenario where the game is extremely tight. But at this point, even though Newbee's teamwork has not been extremely stellar, this is so... At this point, the game has become so basic and so elementary that, you know, even I could win this game.
Oh, lordy. Oh, no. The CK is caught out there. They also have the Sand King on the other side. Don't know if they can bring down both of them, and Queen of Pain's actually going to be taking some damage over there from the CK, and KP also trying to turn this back around, seeing if they can run out G. G is out of mana. He's going to get caught, and, well, Sioma there as well. Sonic Wave connects onto 2. One last touch is going to be enough. G buys back. They need his damage in this fight if they want any hope of winning, and they're actually able to blink away from that Burrow Strike. Nicely played. All right, there's going to be the Aghanim Scepter coming out from the Weaver as well, keeping KP alive. They've lost the Spirit Breaker, but they did lose the Drow as well. Silent maybe in some trouble as well. They're trying to turn on the Kaka, trying to kill him off. The epicenter is there. They're bringing him down low. Can they kill off SC? They will find that one. 3 dead right now for Newbee, and they might be able to find another as KP is getting ran down. Kaka, though, found the kill onto Silent while this was happening.
He has the gem. If he loses his gem, that's a big comeback for Vega Squadron. Just as I say, this game is simple and elementary. Newbee proves that anything is possible.
What the hell just happened? I mean, it was so weird, right? Because the Queen of Pain ends up going over to the side to try and kill off the CK, realizes she can't, while they're lassoing over to the other side.
Yep.
It did cost the G buyback, though, so that's something that, you know, you kill off G in the next 8 minutes at this point, and game becomes a hell of a lot easier.
The problem with that last team fight is that the rest of the team actually don't output that much damage without the Queen of Pain. Like, there was a lot of Disable, there was some Gust, there was some Lasso, there was some Fire Blast, but without SC being there actually outputting damage, they don't kill anybody relatively quickly. Drow Ranger does have an item or two, but she hasn't really, you know, scaled into hyper carry territory just yet. So SC choosing to actually fight against a CK was, I think, the fight losing decision there.
Yeah, and I mean, maybe again, it's like, you know, everybody, they feel like they're so far ahead, and they are. It's still 15,000 net worth. But but just got to be a little bit more careful about that next initiation for sure. As Silent looks to be going down here, they find, well, okay, Mugi just wants to scare him. Put a little bit of a fear in that poor Jakiro. This Queen of Pain is getting herself ready for the other build. The Lincoln Sphere going to keep alive that drop for the moment. They still have time lapse as well, so Mugi able to back away, still staying alive. Sonic Wave comes out as well. The Ryu trying to turn and kill off Mugi. He's actually dropping really low, but able to survive through it. Oh, no, no, no. Burrow Strike comes out. Can they kill him off? They've already taken down that Drow. Yet again, SC staying alive, though, and 4 are dead by virtue of that Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I mean, look at how different the team fight is once the Queen of Pain is actually in the fight. She spent half the fight actually hitting illusions because she hit the wrong things. But still, like, her AoE damage output was so insane. She had the Maelstrom. And yeah, you know, a good time lapse to making sure Drow does not die. And the fight is quite simple.
Well, again, they have access now to these barracks. They're trying to bring them down, but the Tinker will continue to spam out those rockets. The unfortunate part is that you have all the regen in the world right now for Newbee. Earn charges there as well for Kaka on top of the time lapse just in case things become a little bit too testy, and Newbee going to back out after securing the first lane of barracks in this game.
I've actually never seen a Queen of Pain being able to man-fight a CK. This is actually the first time, and she's winning those fights.
Yeah.
She's also going to hit level 25, which if you ever thought, you know, you had a chance of killing Queen of Pain, that all goes out the window. That level 25 talent is crazy.
Well, it's kind of interesting, though, because she went for the Maelstrom, but decided to go back for the Lincoln Sphere, which I think is necessary in a lot of ways. You know, with Burrow Strike there, with Reality Rift and all that other stuff. But it does mean that she's not going to have, like, that Mjolnir charge to heal her back up afterwards.
Yeah, I think the Lincolns is just the extra layer of insurance that, honestly, she doesn't really need. Because she also has Kaka to back him up, right? So, you know, to each their own. I think Queen will be fine.
Certainly. Ooh, and Dagon picked up for the Tinker. You know, I was wondering if that was something that the Newbee might think about going for to kill off the CK illusions. Might be kind of a cool little strat there.
Now that Dagon one-shots illusions.
Yeah, right?
I mean, you probably, like, you need, like, multiple Dagons to actually make that work, right?
I mean, you get 5 Dagons. You just take out all the CK illusions. What does that hero do?
Or you could just take out the CK, too, with 5 Dagons.
Well. 5 Dagon strat, the new meta. I love the idea of it.
I mean, that is actually so old meta. Used to be doing it in, you know, every Dota 1 pub, but no, the Dagon from the Tinker, you know, first of all, it's a good Tinker item, but the goal for Vega is to one-shot people, right? With Charge, with Burrow Strike, with the Reality Rift, so Tinker adds to that game plan.
Well, they're hitting quite hard now. Bloodlusted Queen of Pain. They can kind of move with impunity wherever they want all over the map. And Kaka building back now to finish off that full Solar Crest. I will say that if Newbee run into Vega right now and they don't have the Queen of Pain with them, it does cause some issues. But SC making sure to do things right there with them, and it looks like it's going to be Roshan going down.
Yep. You know, the biggest Lincoln Sphere purchase isn't SC's. It's actually Kaka's. Because one way to actually take this team fight is to jump simultaneously on the target you want to kill and the Weaver. We've seen teams doing that in the past to make sure to prevent the time lapse from coming out.
Right.
But Weaver has Lincolns to protect himself as well. So I think his Lincolns will be the ultimate insurance for the rest of the team. And, you know, we're starting to get to a point where Vega is really running into a wall when it comes to damage output. And now that with the Aegis and Cheese, Vega should be able to close out the game.
Newbee.
Sorry, Newbee,
no problem.
Newbee is able to close out the game.
Yeah. Sorry, it took me a second to catch up with it as well. So 34-18, the game is looking quite in hand. They have the pipe fully completed on Faith, bloodlusted targets, and I imagine that the same way that this works is that you have Newbee move in along the bottom lane and try and take down that tier 3 tower by Drow just sieging.
Yep. Put the Solar Crest on her, make sure you have a Lincoln charge on her, and you know, time lapse if necessary.
Yeah. I think I saw that the Weaver as well was building back towards the Blink Dagger, so he can stay even further back. There's not going to be any chance for them to find that hero and then move out across.
Although, you know, like the one thing technically that's possible is like Vega could have a very sneaky ward in the back line, and with charge they could constantly have vision on the Weaver, but unfortunately Vega not able to prepare by dropping Observer Ward. And of course there is gem available on KP as well, so they could mow it down as they push along.
Yeah, I mean, Newbee actually was moving around the entire map, making sure that there wasn't any vision. That was
Right.
like... They are moving in towards the mid lane here, and normally I'd say this is a little bit scary. You have to be slightly careful about trying to move up here since there are all the shrines in the area. But still going to be hard for Vega to make any meaningful progress towards killing SC, who's the one staying on the high ground with the Aegis. And nice path there. Still going to hit away at the barracks. Reality Ref trying to pull him back in. They get the silence off into the Chaos Knight. BKB was popped, though, for the Batrider. This might get a little bit scary. Time-lapse keeping SC alive. Sonic Wave comes out. A lot of damage, but still haven't been able to bring him down as of yet. CK is gone, though. 80 seconds. Buys back immediately. Sioma taking the damage. G taking the damage. Epicenter is there, but can they actually kill him off? No, they only take down KP. And SC standing tall. Time-lapsed as well, with no regard for human life. Newbee take down Vega.
SC is dodging Chaos Bolts in the middle fights multiple times now. He's making this look elementary.
Elementary, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And the crowd love it as well. You can hear that adoration. They've been staying up late. I mean, it is going, well, I guess it's not that late. It's 9:45, but still.
9:45, that's like beginning to play Dota time.
I know, exactly.
Omen,
They would
Lyrical.
want to go play Dota right now.
No, they want to watch good
Fair
Dota
enough.
being played. To me, the key factor in this game is the pressure that Newbee put on. Instead of defending the Drow Ranger, instead of playing passive, they out-divide the Divide team. And that was a good way to beat them.
It's a beautiful thing when you end up seeing that. Indeed, Newbee changing up their play style a little bit from what we saw before. Love to see it and hope to see some more in game number 2. But for now, let's go back to the panel, see what they thought about that one.
Wow. SCCC, 3 games on Queen of Pain today, 56 kills, 6 deaths, 40 assists. Yeah, I think you might want to ban that hero. Let's bring our panel back in here as Newbee are up 1-0 in our final series of the day. Guys, we can talk about a number of things in that game. All 3 of us went for Vega in the draft. I think we vastly underestimated Newbee's ability to play on Vega's side of the map. With that support Weaver, they were very aggressive, and one common denominator, as successful as Jakiro has been in this tournament, is that if he's forced to play on his own side of the map, if you're not applying liquid fire to those enemy towers, that hero just loses so much of its value.
Yeah, I think that there was like a lot of problems there for Vega Squadron. I think they just looked really uncomfortable with their own draft. Particularly as strong as SCC looked on Queen of Pain, G looked equally weak on Tinker. There was a lot of times where he just looked a little bit out of sorts on the hero. I saw him like there was one time in that bottom fight where he just straight up ran out of mana. Like if you're doing that as a Tinker, then that tells me that like you're not very comfortable in the hero. You're not very experienced. You don't have like the instinct set up to be able to read like how many spells you can use before you're actually in danger territory. So for me, that was a bit problematic. But I do agree. Like you pick up this Jakiro and then you end up with a lineup that is very defensive in nature, and you're just trying to like slowly concede towers until you finally get this late game. It does make the Jakiro look a bit worse, but I think it's like I think it's still worth the first pick for him, right? Sure. I don't think it's like you first pick it and then you're like, oh, we're going this late game strat. Like, oh god, I wish we didn't have the Jakiro. I think it was just SCC and the rest of them playing very well. The Aghanim Scepter from Kaka was particularly useful. They got a lot of value out of their laning phase with the Batrider Weaver duo as well.
Yeah. I was super impressed even before the Aghanims. He got a tremendous amount of value. He had early Urn and Medallion, and he got a tremendous amount of value out of that build in its Roche potential and its ability to put pressure on the enemy heroes with the Swarm, stacking up that minus armor. I don't know. What did you think of that game, Dakota?
I mean, I'll try not to echo too much what you guys were saying already. the transition between being here at the panel and going to the back, I don't know how the laning ended up developing the way it did, but suddenly Drow solo off lane in a matchup against the Sand King, where the Sand King did get a little bit of the better, and with the Bat Rider in the matchup against CK meant that these Weaver and Ogre support duo was able to put so much pressure on G that he got bullied so hard to the point where he's getting Boots of Travel and Blink by like 22 minutes or such, so he comes online so late. And like Cap said, I mean, I would still love their draft. It just felt very uncomfortable for him. So they never really were able to come online, and by that point, it just felt like Newbee were just too swole and taking the better fight. And SCCC, I mean, when he's on fire, I would just step out of the way. Yeah, it's quite ridiculous.
You're not kidding. So the updated numbers, there were 3 kills at the very end. So it is 59 kills, 6 deaths, and 43 assists for SCCC in 3 games on Queen of Pain. He had 42k damage in this match. That's almost twice any other hero, and almost 3 times any other hero on his own team. He just absolutely owns on that hero. I'm not a big fan of reactionary first phase bans, but if I'm drafting against Newbee in the next game, it's gone. No Queen of Pain.
Yeah, I think the Queen of Pain, it's like it's kind of like the early days of 7.0. In this patch, it's looking like the Queen of Pain is actually scaling very well because of these right-click builds that we're seeing. You're able to actually tank a pretty decent amount of damage just because of the lifesteal that we're seeing. Like we saw that Satanic game from, I don't remember when, but it was actually pretty significant that the hero was able to be such a powerful frontliner. So it really does feel like the Queen of Pain in older days of Dota was a rather one-dimensional tempo controller, but it seems like there's a lot of room for growth now for this current version of Quap.
Yeah, that's one of the things that the talents have brought to the table, I think,
For sure.
and the item builds around the talents. And we saw for a while, you referred to her early in 7.0 with that ridiculous level 25 spell steal talent with the Blade Mill and the Mjolnir. But even now, you're seeing that talent, although weaker than before, still does give her that additional scaling option if the game goes super late. That proved relevant in the really long game. But I don't know. When you get a player like this that's in a rhythm on a hero.
Yeah. It would feel awkward to be forced to have to, on one hand, ban a Queen of Pain in the first phase because you feel like Newbee's going to pick it up otherwise, but I kind of almost think of it like basketball, where it's like the team's so hot, you might need to call timeout just to cool him off a bit. It's like, you know what, SCC's been doing so good on this hero, just get him to play something else at this point.
No, what they say in basketball is you just don't want to let Michael Jordan beat you. You want to take away the other team's best option and say, okay, somebody else has to step up and make a play, and Cap's even just taking the tie off. He's had enough of this.
I bet my suit jacket in and got a tie apparently on Vega in the last game. So
get a little hot in here.
Yeah.
SCC's warming up the place. Damn.
We got on esportbet.com, and we didn't know for sure who was going to win. The ties are coming off.
Oh, well.
All right, guys. Well, you just saw game 1 of our final series of the day as, Newbee is up in convincing fashion, 1-0. Vega need a win in game 2 to keep their tournament hopes alive. We're going to take a quick break. We will be back with what might be the final game of the night.